Here are 10 things that you need to do after you arrive as a new immigrant or visa holder in the United States of America. Number 1 is to apply for your social security number. And this number is very important for your employment and for so many of the things that we're going to talk about in this video. And you cannot be employed without a social security number. However, there may be a delay before you can apply for that. I've been told that you need to wait about 10 business days because the Social Security Agency will need to verify your immigration situation, your immigration status, before they can issue a social security number for you. But it's a fairly easy and not complicated process. I created a video to show you the steps needed to do that, so just click on the video over here, or the link is in the description below. Welcome to Clueless in the US. My name is Mighty and I'm here as your guide when you are moving, trying to survive, and eventually you will thrive in the United States. And please like and share this video for people who, like you, have just arrived in the US and may need some guidance and figure out the new and exciting things here in the United States. For most of the things that we're going to talk about in this video, I have created some more in-depth videos. So if those are available, they should be in the description box of this video below. So on to the next thing that you need to do, and that is to look for an apartment or house to rent. You know, it would be great if your employer is providing your accommodations, or if you have a family member who offered to host you for a few days or a few weeks. But in the long run, you will need an apartment or house to stay in, for your privacy, for the things that you need to do for yourself. And in a nutshell, when you start looking for an apartment, you need to know what you're looking for. The number of bedrooms. Do you need a 2-bedroom apartment or a 3-bedroom apartment if you have family with you? How many bathrooms do you need? The location, how far away it is from your workplace, the price range, of course. If you cannot afford it, then you can't rent it, right? And choose the amenities that you want for the community that you want to live in, like a gym or a pool. When you apply for an apartment or a house to rent, they will ask for your social security number. They will also check your capability to pay. So sometimes a certificate of employment will be very helpful. You can ask your employer for that. And they will also ask a deposit of about $300 up to 1 month's worth of rent. And then they will also ask you to apply through their portal, usually online, and you will need an application fee for that. Once you move into your apartment, or actually even before you move in, you need to set up the electricity, the water and sewer, the garbage service. You will also need a renter's insurance, and this renter's insurance will help assure the apartment company that in case of accidents, in case of a tornado or anything that may destroy the apartment, usually storms or tornadoes, they are covered. You are covered. And so this could range from $20 a month, sometimes $10 a month. So you just need to Google some of the renter's insurance provider in your area. You got to go shopping. You need to buy your necessities like additional clothes, food and other supplies, and home essentials. So as a newcomer in the US, and when you left your home country, you probably let go of so many of your possessions, like maybe even your house, right? But don't worry, there are a lot of places to buy things if you're on a limited budget. So there's TJ Maxx, well, of course there's Target and Walmart, and also there's Ross Dress for Less, Marshall's, Bargain Hunt, and so much more. You can also go to thrift stores and save even more money. So you can go to Goodwill, Salvation Army, thrift stores, and Savers. For the thrift stores, you can actually buy things for under $10, and even if they also offer some couches and some appliances in those thrift stores for very cheap. You also need to get onboarded for your job. And what do I mean by that? And Being onboarded means they will provide you an orientation for what it means to be part of that company. So again, you will need your social security number. They will welcome you to the company, and they will let you know the rules for the company. You know, part of it is some dress codes and some of the things that you need in order to work effectively. They will also ask you to sign a lot of papers, so pay attention. Some of these will include, you know, your pension or retirement fund if they're providing that, some health insurance. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Before we move on to the next one, if you have questions or additional tips with the things that I'm sharing here, feel free to leave your comments below and I will get to it as soon as I can. Number 5, sign up for health insurance. So hopefully your employer is providing your health insurance. It can be expensive and difficult to access healthcare in the US without health insurance. If your employer is not providing this, or maybe you come in here with a business or you're a freelancer, for whatever reasons, if your employer is not providing this, you can explore your options at healthcare.gov. This is a topic that I will cover in a future video, so please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notifications so that when I upload new videos, you will be notified. Number 6, open a bank account. For the dollars to flow from your employer to your pocket, you will need a bank account. So you will need a checking account, and that usually comes with a debit card, so you can access it you can withdraw money from an ATM. You can choose a reputable bank with wide coverage. So some of the big banks in the US are Bank of America, Chase, Truist, Wells Fargo, and US Bank, and so much more. You can also check out credit unions locally because they can provide lower interest rates for loans or credit cards, which you will need later on. Go get a phone line. I mean, who can survive without a mobile phone now, right? We use it for so many things like navigating, booking a taxi or Uber or Lyft. You don't need to get the most expensive plan with the nicest phone available. Remember that as a newcomer in the US, you will have a lot of expenses. So my suggestion is to look for a prepaid mobile phone plan, and if you have a phone from your home country with a SIM card that is usable here in the US, then stick to that and just get a SIM card from one of the providers. In my case, my employer paid for my very first phone line. It was a postpaid AT&T plan. It was expensive. My wife, on the other hand, we got her a prepaid mobile phone plan from T-Mobile, and she paid for about $50 a month. But this was 8 years ago. Thankfully, there are so many other options now. You can choose plans that cost $15 or $20 from Mint Mobile, Boost, Ting, and many other providers. Go apply for a driver's license. In most places in the US, you will need a car to move around, and in order to drive, you will need a driver's license. So you just go to your state's DMV or Department of Motor Vehicles and look for the requirements for applying for a driver's license. The driver's license will also serve as your ID for important transactions. If you need to travel by air domestically and you don't want to use your passport, you can use your driver's license. And when you go to different places, when you open a bank account, when you apply for an apartment to rent, they will also ask a form of ID, and this driver's license will come in handy for those purposes. So when you apply for your driver's license, usually you will need to present your US visa, your social security card, and your passport. There will also be a written examination. So you don't need to write a thesis. It's not a quiz, it's not an essay. It's more like a multiple choice quiz. And if you read your state's driving manual, the answers will be there. So don't worry about that. If you can read, if you can memorize a little bit and familiarize yourself with the rules, you can pass that easily. there will also be a driving test. It doesn't matter if you know how to drive from your home country. Generally, you will need to show that you can drive a motor vehicle here in the US. But don't worry, it's not going to be complicated. Just review the rules, practice, and you'll be fine. In my experience, some of the things that you need to pay attention is to stop at intersections where there's a stop sign, like stop all the way, not a rolling stop. Please don't speed when you are in the highway. Pay attention to the speed limit, and when you turn to the right or to the left lane, don't forget to turn your blinkers on or your turn signal, whether going to the left or to the right. If you pay attention to those things, you'll ace that. Buy a car. And so I will encourage you to save money by buying a used car. So we've been in the US for 8 years. We've had a total of 4 cars. We've sold the other 2, and now we have 2. We've never bought a new car. All of those are used, and all of them had been under 20,000 US dollars. You know, the cheapest car that I ever bought was a small SUV, a 2007 Ford Escape, which I bought in 2017. It had 135,000 miles in it, but here's the thing. It was dirt cheap. I only got it for about 5,000 US dollars, and that's cheap. Man, I love that car. So we drove from Nashville to Florida in that SUV. We drove from Nashville to Washington DC in that. It took us to many different places. But when we moved to Texas, I had to sell it because it was acting up, lots of repairs. But anyway, it served its purpose for the time. And if you're planning to buy a car soon, check out this video. It's also in the description below. You gotta look for a community and build your support network. As a new immigrant, one of the things that you will face in the US is homesickness and loneliness, and it just comes with the immigrant life. It's not easy. Good for you if you belong to a batch of nurses or a batch of office mates that traveled together from your home country to the US, and you're together in one workplace. I mean, you have friends who will support you in your workplace and outside of work. We've found that kind of community back in Nashville, but when we moved here in Texas, we're still sort of struggling in finding a community. It's important to find your support network because, you know, they will help you deal with the loneliness. If you don't have an easy access to friends or a community, I suggest that go online and look for a Facebook group that you can connect with. Be active in a church if you're a Christian, or volunteer at a non-profit organization to meet people. The thing is, you just find places where people are, and hopefully you can make some connections and build relationships. Now that you are set to start your new life in the US, you also need to pay attention to your finances. And to help ensure your future, whether you stay in the US, move back to your home country, or move to a different place, a different country altogether, I have created another video which is about the 6 important money moves for new immigrants here in the US. And you can watch that by clicking this right here.